What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to another Football Manager 2020 video. And of course, welcome to the channel. We're here again looking at more Wonderkids. Today we're going to be taking a look at the best goalkeepers in FM20. Hopefully you do enjoy this. Do, of course, remember to subscribe to the channel for more content like this coming your way on the regular. And if you do enjoy this video, do drop a like on it. It is super appreciated. It's that exciting new time of the year. It's a new Football Manager to get our teeth into. And yeah, we've got a shortlist here of the best goalkeepers, which of course is linked down below. If you want to get it, download it from the media file link. You're then going to come into FM, come to the search, play a shortlist tab, and then click on the cog, load shortlist, and well, from there you will be able to select the file that you downloaded. And yeah, we'll start off by saying a little caveat. Goalkeepers this year in FM, in terms of the young ones, there aren't that many with high potential. Compared to some of our other Wonderkid shortlists, I kind of had to lower the bar a little bit. Otherwise, there would have been about 10 or 11 players included, which isn't the most complete of lists. The best of the bunch is Donnarumma, which is kind of unsurprising. It's going to be his last year of being in these kind of videos, with him being 20 years old, I'm afraid. Gianluigi, when you hit 21, you'll no longer be the best Wonderkid goalkeeper, but for one final year, here he is. He is absolutely exceptional, of course, a regular player for Milan. It's not entirely surprising to see him in this list straight away at the top. If we sort by value here, you can see there's Donnarumma that's valued very highly, and then actually the next highest valued is a player at Nottingham Forest. It is Muric, who is from Kosovo. Now, he's on loan from Man City, so it's unlikely you're going to be able to pick him up. But he's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's the kind of player who I imagine Man City will probably let go within a couple of seasons as well, just because they've got so many quality players, and I'm not sure he's kind of quite the calibre for Manchester City. But he's a very, very good player. You can see here, 20 years old, international. Yeah, keep an eye on him. He's a player who, if his value drops, if City decide to get rid of him, you can probably get him for a quite good price. We then come to Alban Lafont, who is on loan from Fiorentina for the next 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, not a player who you're going to be able to sign, but someone who is going to get regular football at Nantes. I don't know if there's like an agreement with his loan. Yeah, there is an optional future fee. So if you're Nantes manager and you have a bit of success, I feel like it's £6.3 million he's worth a punt, and that might imply that after the first 2 years of his loan are up, you yourself might be able to swoop in and sweep him off his feet. He's a good little player. Of course, with this shortlist, there are 38 players. It's not that realistic to get through all of them in this one video, so I do encourage you to check out the playlist, download it. Well, the shortlist, sorry, not the playlist. Although there will be a link down below to the series playlist with all the Wonderkids for all the different positions as they go up. Anyway, let's look through some more of these players. Of course, you can see here the values really do start to nosedive, and that does mean, as a result, there are some pretty good players who can have some exceptional potential in your save games here. A few players in Spain. I really like Danny Martin here. He's 21 years old, so he's not the youngest player. He plays for Betis. Minimum release clause is 27 million, and I believe he only signed for them this year. Yeah, you can see here 4.4 million from Sporting Gijon. He's still, though, a very good player. Was great last year in FM. I liked him a lot. We've got Lunin, who is on loan, if I'm not mistaken, from Real Madrid. Indeed, he is. Another player, much like the guy on loan from City, he could really develop into a great player, and I can't see him being a regular for Real Madrid, so keep an eye on your kind of save games for him coming available. Of course, we're going through a lot of these players, and I'm like, oh, they're out on loan. You know, there's another example here of Pizzari, who, if Donnarumma doesn't leave Milan, you might be able to pry away for a good price. But in and amongst these players, I promise you, there are some players that aren't, you know, loaned out. And we've got an example of this guy here, Stefan Bajic, who is French. You can see he plays for Saint Etienne. He is very, very young, yet to make his senior debut. But at 17 years old, he's solid. He's got really good aerial reach and lots of 8s and 9s. I know this might look a little underwhelming with so many attributes being below 10. Look beyond them. Look at the possibilities, the potential. I feel like it's there waiting to break through. And at age 17, he's going to have a lot of time to try and do it. Of course, the first few players we looked at were some older ones. There are some younger players here as well, including this guy whose name I'm not going to try and say. He plays for the Cameroon national team, potentially. But you can see here, actually, he's contracted to Marseille. He looks very, very good. Again, a player who maybe a lack of blue, a lack of attributes above 10. But he's 16. So keep an eye on Simon. He could be a good player for you. You've got this guy here, Valentino Lisser. I don't know if that's how you'd say it. It sounded good in my head. Very well-rounded. Lots of 9s and 10s again here. He's only 16 years old, probably going to be able to get him for a fairly reasonable price as well. You know, there's a few bargain buys here, and like I said, with the overall standard of kind of players in this list, I did have to lower it just a little bit to, you know, have more than 10 players. But nevertheless, these players are going to be very good, and they're the best of the current kind of generation of Wonderkids breaking through. You know, in this window of kind of 4 years, the current 16 to 20-year-olds, these are the best of the bunch. And another player is here. We've got Gasparini, who plays for Udinese. He looks very, very good. 17 years old, well-rounded. A lot of these goalkeepers are well-rounded. He has great aerial reach, good handling. His reflexes are exceptional, actually, for his age. So he's definitely a player worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, various other players loaned out. We've got here Christopher Klassen, who is a Norwegian player. He's very good in FM. He can have a few kind of instances where he gets a really high potential. Not super high, but relative to this list high. And I think he's worth a punt, certainly. You can see here, great determination for his age. Aerial reach is great. Command of area is good. Good kicking, good one-on-ones, good reflexes as well. I think with this guy, a few of his attributes will kind of vary save game on save game. So worth keeping an eye on that. But nevertheless, at 18 years old, he's a player who you're going to be able to sign, you know, I don't think without too much trouble. And he could definitely represent value for kind of money. And I imagine, actually, if you're a lower league team, you might have a reasonable chance of being able to pick him up. Anyway, you can see here lots of other players kind of in and around kind of being out on loan. We've got this guy, Juve, who plays for Rem. He looks pretty solid, to be honest. He's, you know, a little bit older than some of these other players who I've tried to see the better in. But you can see here, just really, really well-rounded. I feel like the challenge with young goalkeepers is you kind of need to give them that regular football to develop. And so often with goalkeepers, you're better off buying them once they've established themselves. But in and amongst these players, there's some good ones to be found. There really is. I can't stress that enough. You kind of look through this list. There's bargains to be had here. Players who I imagine you'll be able to pry away for pretty good prices. You can see here we've got Safanov, who's probably one of the best goalkeepers actually in this list. You can see how good he is. His current ability is superb. Very good mentals for his age, and also very, very good physical. So a player who I would definitely highly recommend. You can see here he has got a growing reputation. He's currently valued at £1 million, but he is their kind of first team goalkeeper at Krasnodar, so maybe not an option if you're a slightly smaller club, but certainly if you're, you know, competing in and around the Europa League, you've got a reasonable chance of being able to prime away. There's this guy here, Moses Ramirez. He plays for Real Sociedad. Amazing physicals on this guy. He's 18 years old with 25 international caps. I mean, that's exciting in itself. You can see here, signed a couple of years ago for Sociedad. Minimum release clause on him, of course, a mandatory thing for players in Spain. Only £1.4 million, at least in this save game. That can vary a little bit. But yeah, you know, another example of a player who you can get for a good little price, and I definitely recommend it. You might have had your eye drawn to you by Dewhurst here. He's on loan from Sheffield United. He's actually one of the best young English goalkeepers in the game this year. Starts off on loan at Guiseley, and he looks great. Either-footed, professional personality, great with the ball at his feet. So if you're looking for kind of a ball-playing player, maybe you are a team in England and you're preparing for Brexit and whatever that's going to mean in your save game, you know, maybe you're going to need more English players. Definitely a player worth having your eye on. He is one of the best English players in terms of potential when it comes to the goalkeeper position, and I really, really recommend giving him a look. Try to remember some of the other players who really stood out to me in this list. This guy actually looked really good. Marco Konenseki. We'll go with it. That sounded terrible, but I'm going to go with it. But yeah, 19 years old. You can see this guy on loan from Atalanta. He looks solid, very solid. Lots of 13s in the goalkeeping kind of technicals, which is something that's been a little bit absent in this list, you might have noticed. Worth noting, he's a young 19-year-old as well. You can see he's out on loan playing in Serie B, but a player who could develop into a solid player. Definitely worth keeping an eye on in your save game. Anyway, another player we've got here is Berke Özer. I know this guy's been really hotly tipped. I know a lot of Turkish football fans have mentioned this guy to me in previous years, and this is the first year where I've really stood up and taken notice of him. He looks very, very good. Of course, on loan from Fenerbahce, so not necessarily a realistic player to sign, but someone worth having your eye on. If I'm not mistaken, there was another Turkish player. Indeed, there was. It's this guy, Dada Deniz. That is a fantastic name, can I say? You can see here, he plays for Bursaspor. First choice goalkeeper for them, apparently. Did Bursaspor get relegated, or has the Turkish league been reformed? Maybe Bursaspor got... Did Bursaspor get relegated? Is that a thing? Am I out the loop? Either way, with the fact they've been relegated, he might be a pretty reasonable player to be able to sign up. He's 19, so he's not the youngest player in the world, but he's very, very solid. He's, technically a good keeper, mentally pretty solid as well, either-footed, good passing and vision, really, for a goalkeeper of his kind of current quality. Distribution, definitely a big strength for this guy. A player who, if you're looking to play out from the back, a player worth kind of having your eye on. Anyway, there's loads of players in this list. I could spend, plenty of time going over them. There's players like Dedic here, who you, of course, can loan from Inter. He's pretty solid, as we've already talked about. Zoho is one who's probably worth talking about. He's on loan from Deportivo La Coruña. I remember him playing, if I'm not mistaken, at the World Cup. You can see here he's had lots of loan deals out. His minimum release clause is £9 million, so it's not unaffordable. He looks pretty good as well. An experienced international, the Nigerian goalkeeper. Not the cheapest player on this list, but he looks like he's pretty established and could comfortably be a good Premier League backup player. So, yeah, I would really recommend having your eye on him. He looks really good, actually, on the face of things there, even if he is out on loan, and that might mean you can't sign him right away. But anyway, guys, that has wrapped up everything for this video for me. As I mentioned, you can download this as a shortlist down in the description. You can then get it yourself and, well, use it in your own save games. We will have defenders coming your way tomorrow, and also midfielders and attackers on the horizon with this mini-series. I do hope you've enjoyed this one. If you do, drop a like on it. And just as a reminder, if you do support me on Patreon, all of the shortlists which are going to be covered in this series are available to download now. If you're a Patreon supporter, you can log on to your Patreon. You'll be able to view it on my Patreon page. You only have to be at any tier to see it. If you want to get it early, it's there, and it's a way you can show your appreciation for all the FM20 content that we're bringing your way. Anyway, folks, that's all from me today. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I'll see you again soon. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.